Welcome back to another episode of Baxter's Buzz. I am your host, Baxter E. Hall. Thank you for continuing to check me out. Um, Today we are going to do a book of the day. And I wanted to highlight this book. It's called The War of Art. The War of Art. Not to be confused with the art of war. The War of Art. Break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. So it is written by Steven Pressfield, and he really talks about starting some sort of ascension, some sort of evolution, some sort of project, be it creative or anything else, where you're striving for something, and then he refers to these impediments that you receive, this doubt and everything else, as resistance, right? So resistance can be another task that we think that is more important. It can be people in our lives, and so just to kind of start talking about that, he talks about we're wrong if we think we're the only ones that are dealing with this, right? So sometimes we have these goals, and then it always feels like something comes up, and there's something else sort of pulling us away from this goal, from this thing that's incredibly exciting. And he talks about if it is something that is sort of taking you to a different level, a higher level, that's when you will feel the resistance. The resistance doesn't show itself in his mind if you are doing something um, less ambitious or less uh, exciting, or less fulfilling, right? So it only happens when you're trying to ascend. And there's a couple of things I wanted to read. um, One was, he talks about resistance and it not having any strength of its own. It's really fed by our fears, the fears that we put on ourselves and the things that we have in our mind. So if we can master fear, we can sort of conquer this resistance. I think a lot of times we get in our own way. There are other things that sort of, as I mentioned, that seem like priorities. They didn't seem like priorities before, but once we really start to take action and start that process, be it creative or anything else, any new venture, we can end up becoming distracted, and most of it is from ourselves. The other thing is, many times we deal with a form of resistance from our loved ones, the folks that are closest to us. And there's a little passage on this, um, where he feels like when a writer begins to overcome her resistance, they may find that those close to her begin acting strange. They may become moody or sullen. They may get sick. They may accuse the awakening writer of quote unquote changing, of not being the person that she was. The closer these people are to the awakening writer, the more bizarrely they will act and the more emotion they will put behind their actions in an attempt to sabotage her. So, have you guys ever felt that? Where you've been starting a project and you've been excited about something, and then it takes your focus, right? You're not as available. You're not as um, you're not as available to your people like you used to be, and so there's some like resentment, some like strange resentment there, and you may not ever be able to put your finger on it, and they may not even know really what they're dealing with, but it's definitely something that you can feel, right? Maybe we've been on the other side of that, where we've seen someone, a loved one, someone close to us, really going out and experiencing new things. They have less time for us, and we don't know how to deal with these new set of boundaries and parameters that our loved ones are creating. And so sometimes we lash out. Sometimes we do things begging for attention, really just in an attempt to not necessarily derail this person's goals, our loved one's goals, but really just trying to make sure that we get some time for ourselves, right? And that's another form of resistance. So resistance, in the author's mind, is not something that you can. It's fueled by our own fears, and then it recruits allies. Many times, people that are closest to us, because those are the people that can impact our mood, impact our work ethic at times, and impact our focus. So as you venture out and as you go about starting new projects and creating new goals for yourself, and you start that process and get on that road, be mindful that there are going to be things that are in a form of resistance that will deter you. But stay steadfast, continue to create those boundaries, and make sure that you keep your goals in mind. And as my dad would always say, keep your eye on the prize. Lock in and make sure that you don't let these other things deter you from your goals. Because as you get into these different instances and heights, it can be a little scary. It can be easier to just kind of turn around and go back. Don't go back. Stay the course and continue to put one foot in front of the other.